Hey everyone, Irlianna Samsara here, StarSound Astrology, back again with another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is episode 127. So talk about three things on this podcast. One is, once again, I feel like a pitch man for the divine. This magical window that I've been talking about in the previous podcast that's coming up this weekend, the very special weekend, right? Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Very, very auspicious. 8th, 9th, 10th, especially Saturday the 9th. Going to talk about that. And also what I didn't do in the last video, when I talk about the new moon, is where this occurs and what house in your chart. Where does the new moon occur, depending on your rising sign? So I'm going to give you a little quick trip through the zodiacs. I know I hear from you guys that you love that, and like I do too. So it's always fun. And the third thing is the Venus. Venus today went into the sign of Sagittarius after spending 6 weeks in Scorpio, roughly 6 weeks. No, more like 5-ish that Venus will move through a sign. So like, what does that mean? And some interesting, important facts to share, because we're going to be getting a little preview kind of about because Venus plays a role coming up at the eclipses that are coming up faster than we realize in December, especially in December. So those three things. So we'll get right to it. So this window on Saturday, I talked about it in previous the episodes about, the most holy sacred download time when it's like having personal time with the goddess, or because it's in, with this Cazimi, this magical meetup, this cosmic download in the sign of Libra. The Sun, Mercury, and Mars all on the weekend are going to be at 16 degrees of Libra. So they were at 13 for the new moon, which happened on Tuesday. Very auspicious. And so Mars and Mercury are still, it's like this all week here, a little bit going in and out of it. I use an exact degree, exactly 13 degrees, exactly. Some people differ as to, how they count Cazimi, depending on what astrologer you talk to. We all have our favorite methods that we vibe to, but to me, I feel when it's the exact same degree. So Mercury, the moon, and the Sun, Mercury, and Mars are all going to be in the temple of Venus, the high priestess, at 16 degrees on Saturday. So that's really powerful. And the real exciting part is I'm giving you Eastern Daylight Time, so just adjust it for your time zone. But the Cazimi, I call it the three amigos. Those three dudes are all at 16 degrees, starting at around 8:55 in the morning on Saturday Eastern time. And the whole party, basically, it's like party in the palace, party with the Venus temple. And it'll end around 10:15 p.m. So when one of them will leave that 16-degree point. So that's the magic window. But it's especially the most potent when the Sun and Mercury rules communication, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, how we connect with others, our ability to think, and the way in which we think, the way in which we process information. So with Mercury in retrograde, we're all stepping back to see, how do we, Libra, relate to each other? How in our relationships, how do we relate? What beliefs do we have about relationships that really need to be looked at and reviewed? The beliefs that we've had around how we connect with others. That's the general topic about Mercury retrograde, and having some very difficult, painful conversations, because it started with this square to Pluto. So maybe it's digging up past things that we buried in some toxic, scary, taboo ideas that we've had around our base of reality, and maybe our family or our family karma. So this has been not easy. I've heard from many of you guys where it's just been, it can be very confronting. However, the good news is, by digging into that, it's not that we want to experience pain and suffering, but by going down into it, we can confront the fears and the taboos and the survival tactics and all these subconscious programs. We confront it head on, and we come out the better for it. So if we're willing to go deep into those subjects, believe me, it's a huge, huge reward. and everyone benefits. We have a healthier planet when we're all willing and sincerely desiring to move and to evolve and transform. So anyway, but the sun and Mercury will do its special one-to-one whispering in the ear. That would be on a Saturday afternoon around 12:08 to about 12:27 p.m. So it's only like, what, 20 minutes, 19 minutes. It's a very sacred, if you want to know the exact detail, it's 16 degrees and 35 minutes. Both of them will be in that degree and minute from right after lunch, 12:08 to 12:27. So how would you use that? I would certainly, make it special, like write or journal or light a candle. My mother, she was always into candle. Miriam, right? You can always call on her. She was a Libra. She's up in the light. So she's, they need projects, right? So like, I have taken my vitamins. You can now tell others. But really, just a call on the divine with the fabulous temple goddess Venus, divine feminine, sacred feminine vibration of this lunation. We definitely want to call on Divine Mother. Operators are standing by, but you get that special whisper download, just you and the Divine Mother on in that time period. Now, if you're working and you can't do that, that's okay, because the entire weekend is absolutely fabulous. Starting Friday night for this, just do whatever you can do the weekend to really maximize that. It's a beautiful sacred window. Now, if you can't do it, yes, program yourself, hey, go beyond time and drop it into the cosmic Dropbox. But I have to say too, there is a reality toward to saying, okay, it's like we want to honor, we're in the third dimension and we want to honor that too. So it's like, if you could imagine saying, well, I don't have time to do that, or but I can get the same result. Well, yes and no, yes, you can send it and go transcend time and space, but it's also nice to be in the moment and present in that window and in linear time. Kind of like, hey, I want to get a suntan. Well, it's 8 o'clock at night and I'll just program that I'll get a suntan. I don't think so, right? It's like there's a reality there's a window of time when the sun is shining when you can get a suntan. So it's like, say like night, the window is past for getting a suntan. So you know what I'm saying? So there's truth to both. So I just wanted to say that. Anyway, so that's Saturday, and it will be, like I said, to 10:15 p.m. Or 10:17, like that. That'll be Mars and Sun at 16 degrees of Libra. So yeah, so Saturday, like I said, the big day. Put your magic boots on and your magic hat. Take out that Harry Potter wand. Go make some magic. The Cazimi, right? Meeting with the Divine Mother, or it's like Moses coming up on Mount Sinai, right? It's like you're in the presence, and this is like alchemically where we forget ourselves and we just open our hearts and give ourselves fully to divine presence, and really like, let's do our best, whether it's meditation or song or chant or going in the woods, whatever it's going to take to really feel like we can leave that whole, our workaday material world behind. It's as if you were really in a palace meeting, Mick Jagger, or I love to use Mick Jagger it's my favorite thing. You're like, man, you're not going to be thinking about yourself. You're just going to be listening to what he has something personal to tell you. It's like, whoa, we're not thinking about our normal workaday world. We're not thinking about paying the electric bill, right? We're like, Mick Jagger, right? Starstruck is what they call it in the film business, right? You're not allowed to be starstruck. I once got a job working for William Hurt years ago. My dear friend got me this job as his personal assistant. He was shooting a movie not far from where I live, and anyway, I remember my friend said, you know, they interviewed like 125 people. I don't know why I'm telling you this story, but anyway, whatever. They interviewed all these people to be his assistant for, it was only for a few days. You know, I remember her telling me, you know what, you got the job. And I'm like, wow, that I don't think ever had to compete that hard for a job, 125 people. At least I never knew how many people I've ever competed with. But that she said the reason why you got it, one reason was I didn't have an agenda and I wasn't starstruck, because I'm like, you know, I've worked with some people. It's, you know, I've met people when I lived in New York. It's not a big deal. But it's because it wasn't a big deal for me. I'm a little older, right? And they're like, okay, she's not going to say, here's my screenplay, can you get it produced for me? You know, which is typically what happens. So when you're standing on Saturday in that palace, don't be starstruck. It's okay. You know, you're just gonna just be yourself and listen and open. And with the Libra cardinal sign energy, to reiterate from the last episode, remember, that's a cardinal sign. That's taking a new direction, taking a new tack in how we approach relationships and our passion and our courage and our drive and a desire to have loving, harmonious relationships. So yay, go for it, go forth, and tell me how it was for you. Like maybe we'll get some cool dreams and I don't know, whatever. I love to hear all your stories. So, you know, write me, Irlianna at starsoundastrology.com, or put it down below. Let me know what came up for you, because I just love hearing how all the various ways these things can play out. So anyway, so that was that. And then the trip through the Zodiac, let's do that. Okay, so this fabulous lunation, Venus is the host, the hostess, the priestess of this lunation. So Venus wants love and harmony and agreement and connection. And it's like warm, moist energy. Those are the qualities of Venus, you know, just right? Think like silk pajamas from Ralph Lauren, elegant, refined, you know, raffinato, as they say in Italy, raffinato, or rolling the R, raffiné, and as they say in French, refined. So Venus, refined energy. So that's what Venus wants, you know. So anyway, I'm excited because Mars, I'm fine that Mars is considered in, you know, in detriment in the sign of Libra, but that's a good thing because Mars is always trying to beat the hell out of people. So it's like, good, we're like, sit down, dude. Let me show you. Stop your clubbing with your caveman antics and knock it off. The planet doesn't want that anymore. Just shut up, right? No, but they're politely, right? Venus like, well, we'd like to have a conversation. So, you know, I would say if you're going to have a straight conversation with people about those, you know, painful topics, whatever, you know, like I was saying earlier about the square of Pluto, if there's painful topics that come up, just to be, we're going to be kind and diplomatic. And you know how when you ever have a job where you get like a salary review by the guy in the HR department, it's like they're always like, well, let's talk about your fine points. This is what you did, hey, you know, or these last few months you've been very la 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 la. And you know it's coming, like what's missing. But I mean, at least they're diplomatic and they start like, oh, now here's an area where you might want to improve yourself, you know. So if we can be gentle and kind, then it's just a really great salve for the ego, right? Instead of just like, just cut to the chase and tell me what I'm doing wrong. It's like, no, wait, give ourselves that kind of, give ourselves some space, and we can say things kindly to ourselves and as well as to others. So that's my advice. So anyway, that's this is our Libra ascent. So Libra, we'll start with Libra in the first house. So if you have Libra rising, or if you are a Libra sun or Libra rising, this new moon is going to occur in your first house. And so what is that? Well, this is a new direction, revisiting beliefs and ideas and about ourselves, about our body, about our appearance, about our character, our personality. This is all first house things. And so lots of wonderful new beginnings. At first, the first house in ancient astrology is an angular house. So that's a big deal. And that's the, Libra rising, Venus is driving the boat, right? It's driving the boat. And maybe Venus in an air sign, it's driving an airship, floating. And so there are no machine guns off of that ship, right? No way. It's all peace and love and harmony coming through the heaven, floating through the heavens, tossing beautiful pink rose petals all over. That would be, that's kind of like, what's the potential for this? And with Venus in the first, Libra rising. Okay, this is a very strong time for all you Libra rising people. So the next sign, Scorpio. Where is this? If you are Scorpio or Scorpio rising, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the joy of Saturn, and it's the house of the contemplative mystic. So maybe there's a new direction. Maybe there's a place where we can revisit in ourselves. What comes to me is like, do we really have to struggle? Do we have to be so alone? Do we have to do everything the hard way when we relate to others? Maybe it's time to review that. Where is the struggle in our lives with relating, and how, what would it take to move beyond that? What would we have to give up in order to stop struggling? Just an idea, just saying. I would say too, what words came to me as I was preparing this is, the only one that can jail you is you. There are no jailers. It's all up here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So just something to think about. All right, next we have Sag. So Sag rising. This lunation is going to occur in your 11th house, which is family, colleagues, sorry, not family, like friends, friends and groups and tribe and community, and maybe your colleagues, whether you're professional colleagues or just the people that you connect with. Definitely friends, hopes, wishes, dreams. All of these things are very 11th housey. It's the joy of Jupiter. And so this is an area where we, if you're Sag rising, it might be time to reconnect and maybe repair some relationships with friends and family, and like friends who are family or tribe or your colleagues and such. So it could be a time to renew and look at things on a very deep fundamental level. People from your past, Mercury retrograde is always great about that, but maybe in the case of Sag rising, it could be friends from your past that show up, and opportunity for reconnection. Cap rising. So Capricorn rising, this is going to be in your 10th house, which rules your career, your dharma, your duties, how the public sees you, what you're here to bring the world, your public reputation. It can also be perhaps with not just career, but it could be corporate, like CEOs or bosses or authority figures. There may be a revisiting of beliefs around how we relate to all of the above. And so maybe it's about, with the opposite sign being, in opposite house being the 4th house. So maybe there's this disentanglement of self, from family, and, maybe toxic structures where we learn to see ourselves powerfully vis-a-vis, what perhaps the bosses and authority figures that in our lives might think of us. So that's Cap rising. Aquarius rising, excuse me, we'll have some water. Aquarius, right? The water bearer. Oh, that was not planned, I guarantee. Mercury's having fun in retrograde. Okay. By the way, this is so class. Can I just interrupt this? All right, Mercury, here's an example of Mercury having fun. My debit card for the main account that I use, it went missing. I went through my purse all over the place. I checked my car, my friend's car. I just was almost ready to give up, but I knew You know how that is. If you ever lose your debit card, you know darn well the second you call that dang thing in, you find it, right? So I knew it. This is Mercury retrograde. It's hiding. Mercury loves to hide, right? In and out of dimensions. So anyway, I did find it. It was at this wonderful coffee shop where I stopped for an iced latte. Foxtail coffee, delicious coffee, by the way, best latte I ever had. But anyway, so I called up and they had it all along. I was like, oh my God, I've been spending days. And it didn't occur to me. It was like, duh, just call the coffee shop. And just for some reason, I was cynical. I'm like, oh, it can't be there. Well, it was. So anyway, there it is. Things appear, things disappear, and there's a lot of trickster energy going on. Anyway, commercial over, back to Aquarius Rising. So Aquarius Rising, this is going to be in your 9th house. What's not the 9th house? In ancient astrology, we call it the joy of God. And don't worry, there is a goddess. The goddess is the 3rd house. But anyway, don't worry, we're not doing male patriarchy here. Not on this channel. Not if I have anything to say about it. So anyway, 9th house, yeah. So there may be a return to, oh goodness, connecting with higher truth and wisdom and philosophy, or ancient wisdom, or occult wisdom, spirituality, maybe learning, any kind of higher learning, you know, college, university, mentoring, or spiritual mentoring, publishing. Hey, you know, it's, you know, with that, and any kind of truth and knowledge and wisdom, you know, is very much a 9th house experience, a philosophical wisdom. Maybe it's time to revisit some paths about maybe it's learning or taking a class or learning and some education. It's on that information axis. And maybe it's time to let go of like, oh, I already know, I know, right? This could be a place where you can take a new direction with that. Pisces rising, that would be, if you have Pisces rising, this lunation's in your 8th house, which is one of the money houses. It's other people's money, finances, your relationships. Maybe it's you're revisiting your stories and beliefs around finances and your others' finances. Perhaps, you know, it's time to like change the script, change up the script, or rewrite a new script around financial opportunities, new directions. Maybe it's time to, you know, clean up your, you know how Mercury retrograde is great for like cleaning up your closets? Well, what if you cleaned up your finances, right? And maybe looked at things. Maybe there could be some, maybe you owe some debts, or maybe others owe you. And so there could be some revisiting of those themes. If you have Aries ascendant, Aries rising, this is occurring in your 7th house. 7th house is the marriage house. It's partnership, marriage, who we collaborate with one-to-one. It can be like, let's say, a counselor, a therapist, and a patient. That's a one-to-one relationship. So there's some new directions that have the potential to open up new vistas in these areas for you. Let's see, I think with that too, with Aries rising, I mean, come on, Aries guys rising, come on guys, you know how you always want, you got to drive the boat. I'm gonna do it, right? Well, how about like letting others, like listening to others, having that be a breakthrough. It's a new direction. You know, you don't have to effort everything by yourself. We could actually, oh my goodness, let others help us. Whoa, what a concept. So just a suggestion. All right, Taurus rising, 6th house. What's the 6th house? Well, that's the house of employees, and let's face it, it can be slavery, servitude, like I work my butt off, and you know, what do I get, right? So it's an idea, it's a place where we can rewrite our story about our day job, our duty, our service, our, you know, day-to-day, the routine work of life, and not have it be a struggle. You know, what if Venus, and that graceful, harmonizing Venus, is like saying, hey, you know, we can give space to that and invent a new story around this. I would say too, it's like making, certainly with it being the joy of Mars, it could be, Mars is a major significator in medical astrology. So we want to take care of our health. We might start up a new health routine. With Venus is, is about sweets and all. So maybe we want to, ditch sweets or look at how we might, revisit our ideas and our beliefs about that, or where we struggle, where we might struggle with that. Sweets for one thing, but with routines with the body. So let's see, Gemini rising. This is going to be in your 5th house, which is our house of pleasure and joy and adventure, the joy of Venus. So the joy of connecting, and especially wonderful for this lunation. New ideas around love and relationships and, our romantic partners, pleasure-seeking activities. Maybe there's some creative projects that you might have put away from the last Mercury retrograde in the summer. And maybe it's a time to revisit those and reconsider, look at them in a new light. Let's see, Cancer rising, 4th house. 4th house rules our family, our genealogy, our foundations, our family life, our home and property. Maybe there's some places where we are going to have powerful conversations with family members. Oh, I love that. Isn't that cool? So I thought I silenced that thing. See, Mercury's messing with me. Anyway, so yes, a family member, perhaps, maybe we could even reconnect with our ancestors, and maybe even if they passed over. I mean, hey, ancestors are ancestors, in the body or not, but maybe there's some conversations with elders or people who maybe there was some separation, and it's a place where we can reconnect and come back together in a new way. Leo rising, this is going to be in your 3rd house, which is information axis, right? So it's connection, thoughts, ideas, commerce, busyness, connecting with neighbors, connecting with siblings. This is all the 3rd house areas. So that's where the lunation is going to be occurring. So it could be also about learning and education, speaking. Maybe how do we connect, patterns? Maybe we're looking at patterns of how we speak to others, or how others speak to us, and how we process information. Could be very much that way. Let's see, let's go to the next one. Okay, let's see. Leo, now we go to Virgo. Virgo, all you Virgos and Virgo risings, this is happening in your 2nd house, which is the house of your talents and your personal finances and personal possessions, the things that are important to you. So this is where we revisit and connect and make a powerful change in the way, in our self-esteem, how we value ourselves. And it could be also, personal finances, personal income, finances. Yeah. How do you grow? What do we value? What are your stories around your value and your worth? And let's revisit that powerfully, because like I said, this is cardinal sign is a whole new direction in life, right? So this is remember those 3 amigos on Saturday. This is huge. This is like you're getting that private conversation with Divine Mother. This is big. Has a great amount of, like I was saying in the previous podcast, all of this has a great ramifications for society when you think about equality and fairness and diplomacy and how we treat each other. It's powerful to find out, and to presence all these hidden unconscious behaviors that have been so embedded in our society that can now be looked at in the light of day, and with love and patience and kindness and forgiveness and a desire for real union is to forgive and move aside old ways and really come into a whole new path. So yes. So that's 2nd house. So yeah, I think I covered all the houses. Yeah, I did. Yay. So the last thing I want to say is, where was my notes? Oh, no. Oh yeah, so Venus finally went into Sag. Yay. Was it today? Yes. Venus was spending about 5 weeks or so in each sign. And when it was in Scorpio, it was difficult. It was in its detriment. which means it's not the easy place. If you remember the analogy I used in previous, was like, if you can imagine a sweet little lady welcoming somebody new to the neighborhood, and she knocks on the door, and it's like the Hell's Angels answer, and they take her in and they kidnap her for 5 weeks, and they're like, let me show you about connection, lady. You know, it's like, oh no, Mr. and like totally freaked out because there's only one way they know how to connect, and oh, I never went into those taboo, sexually suggestive or dark or places that were scary to me, that were taboo. And it's like, wow, we're exploring all these social taboos and things that were forbidden or dark secrets, and you know, within Scorpio. But again, the power of facing fears and on whatever levels of fears of sexuality, fears of connection, fears of losing oneself in that deep, transformative, cathartic kind of primal way, right, is themes that may have come up for us. And so not easy, but certainly the wiser, right? We come out transformed. We come out from the underworld. Venus is out from the underworld now. She's in the sign of Sag. So Sag is in India, in astrology, in Vedic astrology, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is known as Guru, like literally Guru. And what is the Guru? A dispeller of darkness. That's what it means in Sanskrit, dispeller of darkness. So now that Venus has gone through the darkness and has understood, you know, we've understood this, got a sense or a taste of what was so dark to us is really not to be feared or may, you know, be fearful about. Now we have this wisdom, and we are ready to perhaps share it with others. Certainly Venus in the sign of Sagittarius would be a desire to connect with higher knowledge, higher wisdom, philosophical. You know, I think about, you know, going to an ashram and getting lost in that. Getting lost. Definitely want to address this. Okay, Venus is going to connect with the South Node. It's at 0 degrees right now, and the South Node is at what, 1 degree, I think. Let's see, where is Venus? It is in, oh, I don't have today, back. Okay. Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius, and it is, I'm trying to find, where are you? Oh, there you are, okay. It's gonna cross, the South Node's at 2 degrees right now. So Venus is going to cross that around October 11th and 12th. So when is that? Is that Monday and Tuesday? Venus is going to cross the South Node in Sag. What does that mean? Why is that important? Well, the nodes represents areas of where we hunger for something, and where we are pulled. It's like this is kind of push me, pull you. We all have nodes in some one sign, you know, when we're born, we have. So if right now the nodes are in the sign of Sagittarius and Gemini since last year and a half, right? And that's where we have our eclipses. Wherever the nodes are is where the sign of the eclipses. So we've had Gemini and Sagittarius solar and lunar eclipses since May of 2020. Next month, we are going to be shifting slowly into a different axis, the Taurus and Scorpio axis. But right now, the South Node is in the sign of Sagittarius. So there's this, everything regarding the South Node is about diminishment and decrease and falling away. It could be aging, decay and aging, a falling away. And so when Venus crosses this, you know, it's pretty fast, right? Venus doesn't last around long, just a couple of days where this is going to be active. But this is important because it could be suggesting where, you know, in terms of, here we are in a Venus ruled lunation, right? So this Venus topic about how we relate to others and our relationships, what might come up is, well, there's a positive side and there's a dark side with anything, right? So Venus, it could be a sincere, really a desire to seek harmony through higher wisdom. I think about like going to a Vipassana meditation or checking in at an ashram, you know, just that love for higher wisdom. It could be a kind of a lust for higher wisdom, or be on the dark side, being seduced by it. But you know, where we're just completely like mesmerized by this. It could be like this, you know, you hear about these guru people and like women falling all over, you know, this some guru and having improper connections and, you know, carrying on. I mean, this is a theme that has gone on for a long time, right? Many different places, and why that happens, and where people could get seduced, maybe give their power away, women certainly, but really just in any desire to have such a hunger for wisdom that we end up escaping, and we end up creating the very problem that we're trying to, you know, get away from. So I would say, you know, tread lightly, because there could be this pull. You know, Venus can be very seductive and very charming, but not always in a good way, right? To get manipulative, perhaps, or sneakiness. And so the pull to higher wisdom can have a price like that. So and it could also be just, you know, maybe escaping, thirst for higher knowledge, where we want to escape with books. We want to get into just read and connect with books instead of people. And that might lead to maybe being kind of dogmatic. And so, you know, we could easily be right about these things. On the good side, I'd say, you know, it could very well represent like, the divine feminine that we talked about earlier, you know, this sincere desire to connect with that part of ourselves and that kind of wisdom. So that it certainly has very good things. I'm just saying, you know, beware of that shadow side, where we don't want to fool ourselves and be seduced. Very, yeah, it can be dogmatic. Do you ever meet people who they're just so into like spirituality that they almost become like militant about it, and that can be there's almost like an arrogance, like a spiritual arrogance. So that has to be we could very much experience that of energies around that to learn and to observe and watch and see where this goes when it passes on October 11th and 12th. I would also say too, and just in terms of, you know, I think about Venus ruling sweets. So we could be seduced by some pretty nice, you know, it's like that push pull between, oh, should I give up sweets? Do I, you know, or money, materialism, like that whole pull to the material realm versus the spiritual realm. And where's my commitment? What kind of, you know, so depending on where this is in your chart is going to be the area of your life where this would come up. Maybe it's about curb your, what was that show with Larry David? Curb your enthusiasm. There might be some unhealthy indulgences that we get present to. And again, you know, just watch, right? Be that observer, watch. But anyway, the reason why that's important is because Venus is going, these degrees, that south node is at what, 2 degrees, and we will have the eclipse is going to be in December 4th. We will have a solar eclipse that is very near this degree. And so we, in Sagittarius. So, you know, these whatever themes that might breeze through our lives in the next few days, especially Monday, you know, in that October 11th and 12th, watch those themes, because that could come up again in eclipse season in December. So the lunar eclipse is at the end of November, and then the solar is in December. So just look out for that. It could be themes being revisited. And again, also Venus is going to go retrograde, which only happens every like year and a half. So it's going to go retrograde right after the eclipse, only like a week later. And it goes retrograde for about 6 weeks. So, and when it does, it's going to be lined up with Pluto in Capricorn. So Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So there could be some major reshifting around values, and especially, well, I could get into a whole thing there, but anyway, I won't. I'll save it for podcast. The Venus retrograde, yeah, again, revisiting relationships and toxic patterns around such things. It's going to be really big. So again, there's this little winking eye from the universe giving us a little kind of preview, a little teaser trailer, right? Coming attractions, pay attention to what happens. Could it on the 11th and 12th, because it could be revisited. We're more than likely seeing these themes playing out again in eclipse season. So that's all for today. Just wanted to say too, a couple of announcements. One is back by request, people have asked me if they, to teach them astrology, just a small, I'm just putting out the feelers for a small Zoom class to, I did this several years ago. I had a dream from spirit and it said, teach astrology for beginners. I'm like, okay, all right, yes, boss. And so anyway, I'm going to be doing that. And I'll be, if you're interested, just, shoot me an email, Irlianna at starsoundastrology.com. It's in the box below. And also, I would say too, I'm going to be doing an eclipse webinar. So it's like my favorite nerdy topic is the eclipses, because they are importance of heralds of change, major endings, major beginnings. And I'm going to be walking you all through what are the eclipses coming up in the end of the year, what they portend, and the areas in our lives and the collective where that'll be affected, as well as our own personal lives, what we can expect. More on that, you could just, if you want to be on the email list to get the alerts and all, just send an email to Irlianna at starsoundastrology.com if you're not already on the list, and I will take care of you. So that's all for today. I thank you so much for listening. Many blessings to you in this lunation, and I hope, we just hope and pray that may we all be so connected in our hearts and finding a new direction full of peace and harmony and love. So yay. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you so much for listening. This is Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, starsoundastrology.com. Namaste. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye for now.